Well, for me, it's the best day of the week. Saturday, peace and quiet. Generally, I'm on my own, not a lot of people around. It's just a time for me to sort of catch up, clear up, and just do all the little things that I didn't get time to do in the week. And when you're doing a building project, or building projects in my case, it's kind of like it's just good to have a bit of space and free time. So I'm just giving you a little update. I am due my delivery for all my windows here on Tuesday, so which is a couple of days' time from now if you're watching in the future sometime. Anyhow, so with the last thing I had to do on the games room behind me was make some doors for the plant room, and I made the aperture to suit the timber frame heights, etc. So it wasn't a standard size aperture. And I was thinking of having some aluminium doors made and then some steel doors made. And then I sort of thought to myself, well, it's sort of a bit impractical really. So I made some doors from what we call door blanks. Now, door blank is like a ply flush door, but they're made for the exterior. And they come in 7x3, so 7 foot by 3 blanks, or 8x4s. You can get them in 8x4s. They're 44mm thick, and they are solid hardwood all the way through. Now, it's a lightweight hardwood because you'd think, blimey, you couldn't lift them. And so what you basically do is you get the blank and then rip them out. So these are the two bits I've taken off the sides of each one, and these are the two bits from the head. And then you lip them, so you get some hardwood made up, 44mm thick, in my case 10mm, and then you lip them. And then what I'm also doing is, because they're going to get overclad with the cladding on the games room, so when they're fitted, they just appear just like they're cladded through. All you'll see is an escutcheon for the lock. So I'm sort of constructing them in a similar way to the timber frame. So what I've got is, here are the door blanks prepared. So it's had 3 coats of paint. The paint I'm using is called Saddling Super Deck. I've had it mixed up in the colour of the windows, which is a rail colour, which is really handy to be able to do. It's not a cheap paint, but you can go straight onto bare timber and it does all 3 jobs. But it's a really good paint, and I would recommend it even for fascia boards, soffit boards, anything like that, because you can put your soffit boards up and you can paint them all. It's best to paint them all around first once and then put them up. And then what I'm doing is I'm using my timber frame wrap, which is this TF200 Thermo, and here's one here. So I've bonded that to the door, and that's the outside obviously, and then we're using a counter batten on that for the cladding. So it's quite straightforward to put it on. There's a really good adhesive you can use. There's a few adhesives, but the one I like is in a spray can. I'll show it to you, and I'll put a bit on. It's a bit difficult, so I'm sort of doing all this one-handed. So basically it's a contact adhesive in a spray, an aerosol, and it's got, when you spray it on, let me just get it going, there we go. Hope you can see this. So go all around the edges first. It's got like a wide and then straight down the middle. The idea is you let that dry. Now that's that done. And then on the other side of the wrap, this is a proper selfie, eh? So on the other side of the wrap, do the same thing. Okay. So we'll lay that out. Now I've cut the wrap bigger, obviously, so I can wrap it like a present. So as long as I get all the edges of this everywhere, let's just give it a go here. Here we go. Give it a good coating. And the rest of it. It's brilliant stuff. Got to mind the temperature though. You mustn't use this if it's below 5 and above something like 35. Not the case here at the moment, being winter. So I let that just go off a little bit, and then I'm going to roll it out, and it's going to look like the one underneath. All done. And then I'm going to go and rehang the doors. They've already been hung once. Going to rehang the doors, fit the locks, and that's another job jobbed. So thanks for checking in. Please ask me questions if you want. I know if someone's asked me recently about, I've always got ear defenders on. And this is a habit I've had ever since I was younger. Quick story about that. So I had a client when I was about 20, 21. I was subcontracting. I was doing a roof structure. And she was a hearing expert. And she came out to me in the garden where I was cutting timber with my circular saw. And she was clapping next to me. So I stopped what I was doing and she said, you can't hear me clap. And I was like, no. She went, well, a clap is over 100 decibels. She says, and anything over, I think it was something like 90 decibels is going to damage your eardrums after prolonged use. And a good friend of mine, who was a lot older than me, who was in the motor trade all his life, had developed something called tinnitus, which if anyone knows, it's like a ringing in the ears and it just goes on and on and on. There's not really any help for it, apart from white noise in the background to sort of soothe it. But you have to live your life with that. And so she said to me then, she said, look, I'm a hearing expert. She said, you should definitely be wearing ear defenders. She says, anything above a soft clap continually is going to damage your ears. So I've always had ear defenders, and these ones here have got an FM radio. There's loads of different ones on the market. Some are Bluetooth to your device, so you can take your calls as well. These ones I find are really good because they're just easy to use, just scan up, scan down. It's nice to have a little bit of music when you're on your own, or a bit of talk radio. But the thing is about it, you've got to be careful when you're using ear defenders, because one of your best senses for safety is hearing. So if you're on site and someone's shouting at you, there's a danger, you've got to be able to hear them. So these are actually quite good if you've got the volume low. You can still sort of sense what's going on. So even though they're protecting your ears, you can still hear what's going on outside as well. So that was for the question, a particular question that someone asked me about them. They're available online. These are by a company called MSA Sordin, S-O-R-D-I-N. I've had a branded pair before which were exactly the same, and they were by DeWalt. That was a sort of a promotional thing that they were doing. That was a long time ago, that was many years ago, so I've never seen them since. I'm getting a new set soon, and if they're any good, I'll let you know. I have bought sets in the past to replace these, and like the battery life, put 4 AA batteries in, and they lasted something like a week. Whereas these will last me weeks, probably 2 or 3 weeks with the Duracell batteries. Anyway, guys, that's a little piece there. Thanks ever so much for checking in. As I say, I'm going to go hang these doors now, and I'll speak to you soon.